I'd been driving for 11 hours, and my eyes couldn't take it anymore. My energy level was fine, I was dozing at the wheel, but even with my glasses on, the world was becoming a blur. When I rubbed them, the feeling was like electricity shooting from my optical nerve to my brain. My jaw hurt from how hard I was clenching. There was a stiffness in my neck that I was going to feel tomorrow, and I still had more hours ahead than behind. So, of course I stopped. I'd have been better off closing my eyes and seeing how far I could get before bending myself around a tree. But I didn't know that then. You never do, until it's too late. My entire family lives in Prescott, Arizona. I lived there too until I graduated from high school. The next 4 years were spent in Tucson at the U of A. I fucked off and left the desert behind the minute I graduated. Moved to Portland, Oregon for a job and told myself I'd never look back. Being surrounded by trees, dark, beautiful evergreens that stretched as far as the eye could see and then about 100 miles further was just about the best thing that had ever happened to me. The air is fresher in the woods. That's not placebo, it's real. The shit they put in the inhalers for those unfortunate asthmatics that really have it bad is derived from conifer trees. Your airway literally opens up when you're deep in there, surrounded by pine needles and cool mountain air. How crazy is that? For the next 6 years, I only stepped foot in the state of Arizona for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and only because Mom, Dad, and both my brothers are still down there. This year, I planned the same. Grab a flight from PDX for Turkey Day, drink the required beers, eat the required food, watch some football, and get back home as fast as possible without upsetting Mom. Then COVID came. My family are anti-mask people, and an unfortunate but true fact. So when I told them I was no longer coming for Thanksgiving, the reaction was about what you'd expect. You can't live in fear. The survival rate is 99.97%, I saw on Facebook. You're young. What? You don't care about us? I've always been the type to concede instead of argue. We compromised. I would come, but no flight for me. No holiday traveling. I quarantined for 2 weeks, packed my laptop. My job moved completely remote at the end of March and has no plan to bring me back into the office anytime soon. Filled my gas tank and set off. The drive is about 19 hours if you take the most direct route, meaning you head east over the Cascades, drive through the Oregon Desert. Oh, did I mention that I fucking hate sand? And cut through the absolute middle of nowhere, Nevada. You end up going right through Vegas, but there's a whole lot of nothing between you and Sin City when you start out. I had to weigh my options. Get there as quickly as possible, or as safely as possible. I decided that quicker was safer, given that my eyes stop working after a few hours, especially when the sun goes down. I'm not even 30 yet. Chalk it up to spending every waking hour either working from a laptop, relaxing in front of a screen, phone, TV, laptop, or reading a book. I'll probably be blind before I'm 50, if I live that long. I never doubted as much until tonight. Quicker is safer, even if it means driving through bumfuck nowhere alone as a woman. I made good time yesterday. Got out of Portland early and got through the entire state of Oregon, north to south, and a good chunk of it west to east as well. I crossed the border into Nevada at McDermott and crossed through the Fort McDermott Indian Reservation before I realized I'd made the critical mistake of overestimating my eyes. I had a stop planned, the little town a few hours north of Vegas. There's no metropolis, but a real town at least, one with houses and people that lived in them, not just long-haul truckers resting their eyes. A town with schools and shops and a police department, instead of miles of dark sand and darker skies. I'd planned to spend the night at a Holiday Inn there, and complete the rest of the drive the next day. 10 minutes into Nevada, I realized that wasn't happening. It was already dark, and my strained eyes were crying, begging me to stop. If I didn't stop, they were going to make that decision for me. I was on a 2-lane highway in the middle of nowhere. On either side stretched an empty expanse of black sand. There might as well have been a blanket thrown over the top of the world. Clouds, I guess. I couldn't see a single star. I hadn't passed another car for nearly an hour. Like a miracle, a revelation in the desert, I saw lights up ahead to my right. There was a small motel and gas station with attached minibart. One turn off the highway and I was on a gravel road, bumping and rocking my way to salvation. The sign out front read, Mount Hope Motel. The letters flashed and glittered in rainbow colors. I pulled into the parking lot, took my glasses off, threw an arm over my hot eyelids, and waited until the dizziness passed. When I opened them, something strange happened. The motel seemed bigger. On approach, I could have sworn it was one story, nothing more than a flat rectangle in the dark, but now I could see a second story. There were lights on in some of the rooms up there. I credited that to my poor vision and got out of the car, happy to spend the night somewhere with a door I could lock. There was a small woman at the front desk. Her hair was a faded orange, and when she smiled, I saw a mouth filled with 4, maybe 5 teeth. But she was sweet. "Welcome to Mount Hope, darling," she said. "Just one night, I take it?" Yes, one night, please," I said. "And is it just you, or is your husband bringing the bags?" Normally a comment like that would rub me the wrong way, but I saw her in a smile that she meant nothing by it. "Just the world I grew up in, sweetheart," that smile said. I slapped the small duffel I slung over my neck and said, "Nope, just me," returning what I hoped was a smile as friendly as hers. The woman's face drew down into a frown, and she said quite solemnly, "I see." Then the smile stretched across her face again, transforming her back into the cute lady that had greeted me instead of the decaying garden gnome I had just seen. "Hard to believe a little lady pretty as yourself could be traveling alone. I hope you're being careful, honey." "I'm fine," I said. "Now how much will it be for the night?" She hit a few buttons on the screen in front of her and said, $45 even. She ran my card, handed me the key, told me I was upstairs all the way at the West End corner room. As I was stepping back into the dark night, she called from the desk. "Miss, if you should hear something rooting around outside your room tonight, don't look out the peephole." "Rooting around?" I said. "Oh, it's nothing really, just some shuffling by, or maybe breathing heavy. Don't worry about it, just don't look through the peephole or a window, and it'll be on its way. And I think this goes without saying," she said, leaning in and grinning, "but don't open the door for it." "It?" I asked. "Oh, don't worry yourself about it, darling. I shouldn't have even said anything. Independent woman like yourself, you know better than to open a strange door at night. What was I even thinking, giving you something to worry about? You'll be just fine. Have a good night." I was too tired to do anything but leave. I slogged up the stairs and across the hallway to room 32. It was at the far end corner room. Like she said, around the corner was nothing but a vending machine and no other rooms, and beyond that machine, the endless reach of sand. A shiver ran through me. I opened the door and went inside. The room was what you'd expect from a roadside motel that costs less than $50 for the night. I had a small bed that looked recently used, a TV that might have been older than me with bunny ears sitting on top, a small desk with a dirty off-white lamp, and a bathroom the size of a linen closet. I was too tired to shower, and probably would have gotten out feeling dirtier than I was when I went in, so I brushed my teeth and lay down for sleep. The TV got nothing but static, and I hate sleeping in total dark, so I opened my laptop and tried Netflix. No Wi-Fi. Great. I tried my phone, no signal either. I opted to leave the bathroom light on and the door cracked. The sooner I could fall asleep, the sooner I could leave. I had forgotten all about the receptionist's weird remark. I dozed, the sleep thin and restless. At 2 in the morning, I awoke to the sound of someone sweeping the walkway outside, or at least that's what I thought I heard. Then her words came back to me. "Oh, it's nothing really, just someone shuffling by." My heart jumped into my throat and I sat upright. There was a shadow pacing back and forth in front of my curtain-covered window. Something long and hunched over. It went from one side of the window to the other and then back again, bald head down, long arms reaching intermittently for its face, mumbling. I got out of bed and walked to the door. I was locked and the deadbolt was pulled. I lowered my eyes to the peephole before pulling myself back so forcefully that I actually fell over. She said not to look. But why? How would anyone know if I took a quick peek? I came dangerously close to looking a second time, only breaking and pulling away through sheer power of will. I sat on the bed to think. She said not to look through the peephole or the window. It'll be on its way. Just ignore it. But what was it? I looked up and the shadow was no longer pacing. It was standing in place in front of the window. Its long shadow stretched across the curtain. It lifted an impossibly long, gaunt hand and ran fingers down the window. The sound like nails on glass. Then it tapped. Once, twice. Again, I ran into the bathroom and locked the door behind me. I sat on the toilet, trying not to cry until I managed to control my breathing. Gradually, I calmed. I was tired, my eyes throbbing the way they always do when I pushed them too far. I needed to get back to my bed, but I couldn't stand the thought of leaving the bathroom. I climbed to the tub. I hugged myself, shivering. And somehow, I fell asleep. I dreamed that I climbed out of the tub, my body aching from the cold, unforgiving porcelain. I watched my hand as it opened the bathroom door, walked into my dark room, past the bed. The shape was still at the window. It watched as I crossed the door, leaving its spot to meet me there. My head lowered. My eye found the peephole. I saw it. Upon seeing what stood outside, my head was filled with static. The electricity behind my eyes grew to a shocking, sputtering crescendo. It was grinning. My dream hand went to the deadbolt, undid it. Then I watched myself open the door. A blast of white filled my eyes, my head, blotting me out entirely. I woke up in the tub, sweating. I screamed, remembering the nightmare, and only the cold blue light filtering in the small window above the shower managed to prevent me from having a nervous breakdown. It was morning. I had made it. I opened the door and grabbed my duffel. Lucky for me, everything was already packed. I had paid in full. I could grab my stuff and be on my way, putting this dusty little town and its dirty nightmare behind me forever. There was an envelope on the desk. Printed in dark letters across the front was my name. I should have left it, but that's not me. Even when I know better, I have to look. If it's in a look, it's in a name. When your eyes depart, your head remains. You see me, now I see you. There's nothing left that you can do. You can run, and you can hide to all the places far and wide. But no matter what you do, always, my friend, I'll be with you. For one sick moment, I thought my car would stall, but it started without issue. I threw it in reverse and gunned out, looking over my shoulder. Back on that road, I turned again to see it. Mount Hope Motel was one story again. The windows boarded, deserted. Great drifts of sand piled against the sides, 5 feet tall. The sign out front was broken and unreadable. I swooned, the world turning gray, and only brought myself back by biting my tongue hard enough to bleed. I made it to my parents' house, just as darkness began to creep into the sky again. Now, I'm in the room I grew up in. The house is quiet. Everyone is asleep. I'm so tired. I need to rest my eyes, but there's this shadow outside my window, pacing back and forth, shuffling, grinding in the darkness. I'm afraid that if I sleep, I'll have this dream where I get up and open the window for it. Only, it won't be a dream. It will feel like a dream, right until the moment its long fingers reach down and scoop my eyes from my head, pulling them until they rip free. And when I wake up, it will be dark. Dark forever.